Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of Caydgaming. Today I am ecstatic to share Across the Obelisk. This is the game, if any of you are wondering, this is the game that I play when I'm not recording videos. I picked it up in spring because a friend referred it to me. If you're a fan of things like Baldur's Gate or Slay the Spire, you will love this game. And for me, I really didn't think I would like this. I kept looking over it. I picked it up and I became addicted. When I say it's fun, I mean I've played over 100 hours in 2 months. It's fun. I mean, I have now gotten, I think, 7 or 8 friends into this game. It's fun. And I also mean that there have been work nights where I've stayed up till 11 o'clock or midnight when I really need to get to bed because this game is so fun to play. So go ahead, grab a coffee, and let's dive right in. This game, to clarify, it can be complicated. I want to really make it as fun and simple as possible. And then if you guys are interested in seeing more, I'll probably create some like beginner's tips videos and stuff. What you do, it's a party-based game. It is a turn-based strategy. It is also a roguelike and a deck builder. and really it has D&D elements, right? Like you roll for success on some things. I have unlocked every single character. I have bought all the DLCs. I have drank the Kool-Aid. This game is super fun. You have archetypes of characters, are warriors, scouts, mages, healers, multi-class characters, you name it. For now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put Magnus up in front. I love Wolfman here. For my scout, I'm trying to decide. I think what I want to do just to show you guys is play as the original 4 characters. One of the fun things though, before I begin, just so you know, is everyone kind of has their own strengths and weaknesses, right? You have characters that specialize in fire damage or dark damage or ranged damage, and you can affect enemies' weaknesses. So one thing that's really cool is when you play as these characters, in essence, you can actually create a team that does all dark damage and it all stacks. So they're really, really good. And then each character has these perk points. For example, I'll show you Reginald, my favorite healer to play. He's max level, he's level 50, but what I can do is I can increase his resistances, right? I can go in and increase the buffs that he applies to people, increase the healing that he does to people and stuff like that too. So it's really nice to kind of see those types of things implemented. What I'm gonna do though, I'm gonna pause here, I'm gonna cut to some gameplay so that you guys can see. So I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so this is the main map screen. I've just been to town. I have upgraded my characters a little bit, and in town you can do things like upgrade cards, buy new cards, remove cards, buy items, you name it. So whenever you play, this is always the starting area, and you also have random occurring events, right? You can see down here, for example, there's an uncommon event, and up here at the top as well, there's an uncommon event. So what I think I'm gonna do is I am going to head straight up north. And if you're playing with friends, your friends vote on what to do. So this is a combat screen. At the very top of the screen, you can see the turn order. So you can see all my characters will actually get to go first before the enemies. And being the beginning area, this is supposed to be a little bit easier. On the left, you see my team. On the right, you see the enemies. The red bar and the numbers above are your health. Below it, the yellow is how much energy you have. The green is how much energy you'll gain on your next turn. And then all buffs and debuffs are below the character. So down here, these are my cards. When I look at a card, the top left is how much energy that it's going to cost me. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get started here. This character Andron's going, and I'm gonna just see what I can do. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna slice. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna give this character. So she's taking a look. She can discard any of these abilities that she wants. So I'm gonna do those 3. Perfect. And then when I'm done, on the right, I click End Turn. By the way, if anyone ever has any questions, please comment below. I have played this game so much. I am happy to talk you through it. I love this game. I'm happy to be a guide, a mentor, like you name it. I think this game is so tremendously fun. So one of the ways that you kind of want to play the game is, right, you can play, this front guy should be my tank. So he has shielding abilities, and he's giving block to himself and all of his allies. This one, intercept, it costs 0 energy, and when I shield, I can either use it on myself or an ally to give them defense, right? And it'll increase. And then of course he can attack too, which is what I want to do on some of the easier fights. Outside of that, something that I think is really cool, there are some other things with cards. For example, this one that has the fire symbol means that you can use the card once and then it vanishes. You'll have it each combat, but you won't shuffle it back into your deck after you've used it. It also has something on it that says deal X, apply X. X equals your hand times 0.08. Or sorry, 0.8, excuse me. So this is a card usually you'd want to use early. So that way you can use it while you have the most things in your hand. For her, for example, she still has 6 energy, so I could buff allies, I can deal damage. Because it's an enemy, I want to just go right off the bat and deal some damage. The faster you complete a fight as well, the better your performance bonus is up here at the top. And after every combat, it shows you how much gold and experience you get for the character, as well as you will have a chance to get cards. So the minimum amount you can have in a deck is 15. For this character, I'm gonna take Piercing Howl. That is a great ability. It slows enemies and it applies vulnerable, which is minus 5% per charge to all resistances. The second character, I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna choose the shards. I love a game where it says if you don't want what you're gonna get as a roguelike, you can take currency. To me, that is a big win. Now I'm gonna do the same for my ice mage here. She can do fire, ice, or lightning, but for this build, I'm going ice on her. And then my healer down here, he doesn't need any of these cards at the moment. These are damaging abilities. So I'm gonna go with it that way. Before I jump into the next fight, quick thing to show you too. Magnus, my tank, he can also build damage, right? One of the nice things is every character has that massive perk tree I showed you where you can build elemental, you can build mystical, you can build physical, you name it. Every character has a passive and they have 2 separate options at each level up that you can take that'll take them in a different direction. So his, for example, on the right side, these are all kind of more tanking level ups you can take. On the left side, those are all more DPS, damaging level ups that you can take. So the game, I think one of the reasons why it is so fun is because there are so many different combinations of things that you can do. There are instances where you'll get dropped into a cellar and have a mini dungeon. You name it. And then of course things like this happen. Obelisk corruption. So I've skipped over the story so that you don't have spoilers, but there are these things called obelisks that are getting activated, and that's all that I'll say. And that means you can have corruption. So on this fight, all monsters gain +1 damage, 15% fire resistance, and then when they deal damage, it applies a fire. But I can choose, everyone can remove a card, or they will get access to an upgrade altar. I don't really need either of these things, but what I'm gonna do is just take the free card removal for the bonus points, basically. And at the start of the fight, hopefully I'll be able to just kill everything before the fight, you know, before they even take a turn anyways. So we'll see what we can do here. With this guy, this is my rogue. He goes first, my archer / rogue. I'm gonna use deflect, draw 1, gain 6 armor. So now I've drawn another card. I still have my 6 energy. I'm gonna use all of my cards. I have enough energy. Monster's Mark, or Hunter's Mark, apply 3. We're applying 3 Mark. Mark prevents stealth, but it also actually just deals 3 extra damage with every hit, which is a really, really cool kind of addition. So in this game, you can kind of min-max. You know, you can say, oh, okay, make sure you apply the mark first, then hit the enemy so each hit has more damage on it. Barricade, so everyone gets some armor. And then I'm gonna actually just attack for now. and give myself defense cards too, so that his defense adds up. One little thing too, just so everybody knows, your defense goes away at the end of the round. So we're still on round 1 right now, but as you kind of progress through, you'll notice that you'll have to keep defending characters unless you get a very specific buff that prevents something from falling off. Here we go. Things also interact, something I think that's really, really cool. So like, for example, if enemies are wet, they take additional lightning damage. So it's really beneficial if you go for like a lightning build to also build wet. The inverse is also true. You know, if you're applying wet, that negates fire. So those do not mix. And my healer, he can also build holy damage, and this guy, Reginald, actually does a really great job of dealing damage later on in the game. So it's one of those things where you can totally say, hey, I know this character is traditionally a healer, but I'm actually gonna make him really powerful, overpowered, you know, impressive. Let's see, I don't want any of these, and I don't want any of these. So I'm just gonna take all the shards. Shards, by the way, in the top left, you can see my gold, my shards. Shards are what you would use to upgrade a card. So in this instance, right, I don't have very much right now. I'm not very rich. Let's see, what am I gonna remove? There we go, that should do well. And then I can either choose to try and unlock this character, which I've technically already unlocked, or I can go to this riverbank event. So the nice thing about this is you have random events that happen and you can read a fun game. You arrive at the riverbank and see some children playing with barrels in the water. The game consists of using the barrels as boats to go down the river. After a while, they return with their barrels to make another round. A child sees you and says, "Hi, we have a few barrels to spare. Do you want to play with us?" Do you want to play? Absolutely. I want to go downstream. And now you can only go downstream. Time to have fun. And I got some experience for that too. So perfect. So we go down. This is where it drops us behind the waterfall. So a rare event that you can only access from this. So it's one of the reasons why I did it. Behind the waterfall, it was quite fun. As you went down the waterfall, you realized there was something behind it. You come out of the barrels, and behind the waterfall, you find a suspicious door half open. You look inside carefully and see a room with torches where a group of pigmen are attending a meeting and listening to a high-ranking sectarian. What do you want to do? I can leave, I can fight them, or I can threaten. Try to scare them before you enter by rolling 5 or higher as a group. If I highlight over the die over here, it'll show me my success is 46%. I don't really want to run that risk, but I do want to fight them for funsies. They were surprised to see you, but they were ready for combat. This game has a lot of stuff like that. So many diverse characters. So in this combat, what I want to show you too, when you highlight over an enemy or an ally, you can see in the top left their resistances. So for example, this little piggy is called a neophyte, and he is weak to crushing damage, ice damage, and mental damage as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. Let's see if any of these characters, who's the weakest? The imp is the weakest to ranged, but I don't like this mage, this pyromancer in the back. So I'm actually gonna focus on dealing damage to the pyromancer because he has the most health. And I'll end my turn. Ooh, perfect. I'm gonna start with the Howl. The Howl applies vulnerable and makes them all slower. So that way the enemies might not get to take a turn and vulnerable, right? Minus 10% resistances, that is huge. Here we go. I'm gonna apply a shield to my ally back there. Rend applies bleed. Bleed is where an enemy loses health at the beginning of their turn. So it's actually really good. Because it, instead of like poison where it hurts them at the end, it actually hurts them at the beginning. So they might not actually even get a turn. Squall, AoE, deal 16 ice and apply 7 ice and 2 water. I'm absolutely doing that. I still have 5 energy, so let's see. 18. And as I stack up these ice stacks, it reduces their cold resistance. So it's almost like the name of the game is you just keep doing that until, you know, they start taking more and more damage. And this guy on the right, now you'll see the skull means he's going to die on his turn, and it's because he has these 11 bleeds. So I'm gonna end my turn right there and let him die from that. This character, he can dispel, he can grant. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself Bless. Bless is a stat that increases damage and healing just flat. So this way I can deal a little more damage. And let's see what I can do. I'm gonna hit the Imp. And none of my characters really need to be dispelled or healed. I'll grant a little barrier to her, just in case. So something new you haven't seen yet. Barrier is where you gain shield at the next turn. So that way you can kind of preemptively, if you know an enemy's gonna deal damage next turn, you can give yourself barrier instead. All right, let's see what we can do. Adrenaline, gain 2, let's do it. I'm gonna hit this piggy. I'm gonna apply Hunter's Mark to this piggy and then slice him so he takes extra damage. And I'm gonna give her the chance to discard some cards. Perfect. That's great. All right, we'll do that. All right. So he blocked some of that burn damage that he had. I'm gonna use him to go ahead and attack. I'm gonna shield the guy in the back because he's got burn, so he's gonna take damage. So hopefully he won't take too much damage because of it. And then I'll end my turn. So the front hero usually takes the most damage, but there are ways, of course, that your middle heroes, and truthfully, the healer in the back does take a lot of damage too. I want to show you this. So Winter's Orb, random monster. I can't control who it hits, but it'll repeat 4 times. So it'll hit a total of 5. So you just throw it out and it'll just start hitting enemies left and right until its turn is up. So it's a really cool card. And you have little things like that. Let's see. I don't really need Binding Heal. No. He's gonna go melee. I know this requires stealth and it ignores block, but I don't really have stealth cards. I have like 1 or 2, you know, but nothing major. I do want the melee Sunder Armor's cool. Interrupted meeting. After defeating the cultist and the pigmen, you search the room and find a mysterious book. The book is badly worn and barely readable, but one sentence catches your eye. The first of 3 colors of hell is black. Great bottomless pits and darkness as far as the eye can see. The book continues, but the rest is illegible. Perhaps some other cultist has a copy in better condition. You also find a small chest and an exit ladder. So I got more experience and gold from that. And now I can actually get items. Items are really cool because they will definitely significantly buff your character or help you with builds. So this guy, for example, I can take armor that gives him 3 powerful, which is 5% damage and healing done per charge. I actually think for the sake of him being the tank, I'm gonna give him the ring that gives resistance and health. This guy already has armor, so I don't want to replace his armor. He does some poison, but I'm not really going a poison build. I'm gonna give him the fishing rod for the carp. For her, I'm gonna give her the combat start gain 3 powerful, because she's a mage, she benefits from extra damage. And then this guy, you know, I'm not building Sanctify, but, you know, something like that can absolutely help. I think I'm going to give him the speed boost, so he just for sure goes a little faster. And then what I'm going to do for the sake of this video, I'm actually going to pause for now, and I'm going to jump ahead to the boss fight, so you can see what happens at the boss fight. All right, so this is the boss of the first area, Ilmer's Awakening. The obelisk is in sight, but something very dangerous is blocking the way. Ilmer, an old treant once known as the protector of the Sinenthia forest, has awakened and been tainted by the energy emanating from the now active obelisk. Besides Ilmer, there is a Trunky and a Dryad protecting him. You can't see any way to avoid the confrontation, but maybe you can make the fight easier or worse, depending on how you approach him. This challenge will be difficult, so what will you do? I can start the fight, I can rest first, but my characters are all full HP, so I'm not gonna worry about that. And I can ambush. It's risky, but try to hide in the forest to start the fight with stealth. I don't like that success probability, so I'm just gonna fight him head on. Without hesitation, you draw your weapons and rush at him, gaining a small movement advantage. So, I would like to point out, so this is a boss fight. That is why his health bar is burning over here on the right. But I'm kind of breezing through this a little bit more because all my characters are really highly upgraded as well. So I'm able to deal a little more damage, have a little more resistances, you know, stuff like that. So I want to kind of spread out the damage. I don't think I really want too much to focus on these guys, but for example, the trees are immune to bleed, so I'll apply the bleed to her after I apply the negative resistances to everybody. There we go. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if she can get some AoE too. So this is her first class ability. I gotta level up too. Enchant weapons. I actually can use it, it's a free card, and then I can change the element of all damage and apply more cold. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and I can give it to any of my characters, but of course, I'm gonna give it to her. I'm gonna use the mana gem to gain more mana, and then I am going to use Squall, because that will also apply extra cold to all of the enemies as well. And let's see, what can I do here? I could do... Let's see, I'll kill her with this. I'll do Fire Blast on him, and then I will give extra energy to my healer in the hopes that he will gain maybe a good damaging card. His first possibility, Divine Retribution, damaged by others. So if he takes damage, he will deal 16 damage to the enemy, and he'll gain some less. It's a great card, love that card. I'm gonna go ahead and just use Flash on this front guy. No one really needs a heal yet, but I am gonna give a barrier to my tank for the next round, and then I'm just gonna pass and save all this energy. So the boss is buffing himself. He's giving himself powerful regen. Thorns. Thorns is when if I hit the boss, I will take 8 damage, and then he'll lose 1 stack. So the next time, I'll take 7 damage, and so on. Carp. Draw 1 and gain vitality. I'm gonna give that to her since she's got very low health. I'm gonna use a deflect. I'm gonna use expert tracker on her so that she can, let's see, I'm gonna remove that maybe. And remove this, I think. Yeah, well, I mean, she's only gonna get 4 energy anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna do all that. And then let's see. I'm gonna do slice 1 and then slice 2. I'm not gonna do the 2 damage because they don't take bleed damage, so I'm just gonna keep applying mark instead. All right, ooh, colossal blow. Purge, reinforce, deal extra damage, gain powerful. I'm gonna give him weakness. I'm going to barrier everybody, and then I am going to use colossal blow. And the free defense. Okay, let's see, what did she do? She got 6 energy. Ooh, let's start with the cold spark. Look at it, it's gonna deal 23 times 2. And part of that is because of my cold weapons buff. So multi-hit abilities are actually really strong for her. I do have that Winter's Orb, and that's probably gonna finish the fight. Just in case, I'm gonna apply a little extra cold first. And now let's do the Winter's Orb. You can see it's gonna deal 29 damage, and I'm gonna take 2 damage from the thorns from each hit, but that'll just stack up. And so that boss was actually pretty easy. I beat him on turn 2. The first time I played this game, to give you an idea on the difficulty back then compared to now, the first time that I played this game, I was not able to beat that boss. So it is super fun. I think it's something that you know, comes with nuance. I think the reason why my friends and I love this game so much is just because when you play it, you end up seeing, oh, there's so many cool new cards, different buffs that you can do or take, build paths and combinations of characters. And so you end up seeing, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Look at that, right? An item that gives me thorns 2 times a turn when I play defense. You know, stuff like that, that just essentially makes you say, I'm having fun. I think this is cool. I wanna do more, you know? For her, what am I gonna give her? I think I'm gonna give her this gold chain. I think that's probably the smart thing to do. And my healer, of course, gotta give him the branch. I can as well. I can always take gold, you know, if I don't want any of the items. So from here, I've hit the obelisk, and what I can do is I can choose which portal I want to go through for the next area. So, right, the dusty air from the yellow portal, icy draft from the blue portal. What I am gonna do is I think I want to go to the... I'm gonna have to go to the red portal to do this quest for this character. But what I'm gonna do, skip story so you don't see it. This is another map. I'm actually gonna cut the video here. Go ahead, comment below, let me know what you guys think. Are you interested in the game? Again, I know it doesn't maybe look like it's the most fun to some people. I am not a card game person, a deck building person. This game, it's just addictive. I have shared it with so many friends, and all of us just can't put it down. I gave it to one cousin recently. They've spent 50 hours in 2 weeks. I kid you not. Like, it is amazingly fun. Comment below, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you need advice. I will so happily dole out advice in the comments and make more videos. And of course, most importantly, if you like what you saw, click that subscribe button. When you subscribe, it helps me so much, and I'm releasing new videos twice weekly on Tuesdays and Fridays. My name is Cade. I hope you enjoyed your coffee, and happy gaming.